Hey everyone, welcome back to Carrots and Olives. My name is Brittany, and today we are doing something a little bit different. I have always loved art. Art is one of my other love languages, outside of journaling and fountain pens and all of that. And if you've been following me for a while, you will know that I've had done a lot of art on this channel, and I had a Patreon and a shop, but I just have limited time to do all that now. So one of the things I've gotten out of is creating art with paint. And so one night as I was on Instagram, I found a shop, and this shop is called Bound. And I decided to buy a couple of sketchbooks so that I could hopefully jumpstart myself back into one of my favorite hobbies. So I can't promise that I'm always going to have a lot of art content moving forward, but if some creativity idea hits me, I might just share it with you guys. So today I am sharing these sketchbooks with you. They are by a lovely lady named Susan. She has sent me 2 notebooks, and this is not sponsored. I did pay for these, and the notebooks I ended up purchasing was the Wabi Sabi Sketchbook Medium and the Japanese Sketchbook Small. These are coming international to me, and she is located in the UK. So opening this package was definitely really fun and quite a surprise. I loved how she shipped everything very well, and it felt like a gift. She also included some material on the information and how to care for your package or for your books. She also creates memory books and handmade wedding guest books, which is really awesome. And she says that the paper I chose is the 210 GSM handmade cotton rag paper. It's unbleached linen ribbon and has wax linen thread. And then the small one, which you see here, is the simple binding in light blue. It also has the handmade cotton rag paper and wax linen thread. Everything is very well made and, again, very well packaged. And I'm excited to slowly use these watercolor notebooks. So she says that not only can you use them for watercolor, but you can also use them for stitching, collaging, and mixed media. So I also used to do some mixed media, not so much anymore, but I think that's pretty awesome that this paper can hold up to different media. So I decided to create some watercolor for you guys. And one of the things I really like to watercolor are lemons, or paint in general are lemons. I have a lemon artwork piece in my kitchen that I painted with acrylic, and for some reason I find it just like my go-to image to create lemons, because I think that they're really easy, and they can be created differently each time. So you'll see the process of me sketching out the image in the small Japanese sketchbook. And this sketchbook does not open flat like the larger one does. It has that binding where you have to fold the page. So even though the book is wider, you are losing about 3/4 of an inch from the notebook when watercoloring in this notebook. So it just makes it a little bit more smaller. But one of my favorite techniques with watercolor is doing different layers. Obviously you do that in general, but I like to typically take it slow and wait for each layer to dry to add the most type of depth to my images. Now, I didn't take as much time to create this because I was really just testing out the paper. I felt like the paper did really well and held up really well to watercolor, and some of the techniques like the water washes and holding the water itself. Like there was no water seeping through, and my watercolors were behaving as they should. And I'm using professional watercolors here. So like Winsor and Newton are on my palette, and I have Core, and I have some Sennelier watercolor paints that I'm using. So I'm sticking with like 4 main colors. I'm not going to get into that, but I do just want to mention how this paper and notebook held up really well, even though it's only 210 GSM. The one thing that didn't do very well is when I was sketching and I tried to erase, it was kind of pulling up the paper. And I only erased in one little spot, but I realized that I could, as long as I'm using the right pencil, I could actually paint over my pencil lines to where you won't see them. And you will see that towards the end of this watercolor painting. Another thing is that, you know, that I love using my fountain pen inks. And so if you stay tuned to the very end, you will find me doing a sample on the front of the book to give it a title. And I decided to use the new ink to me, which is from Dominant Industry. It is Winter Wood, and it's a dark brown that almost looks black, and it works really well. I used my dip pen, which I purchased from Amazon. This is the dip pen, the glass dip pen that has the cap to it. And I also did what do you call it? I also use a dip pen with a, it's a 10 nib. So it's a flex nib, and it worked really well. The paper does have some texture to it. So obviously with a dip pen that will flex, you want to be careful with how you're flexing and to make sure that you're not going to like end up pulling some of the paper fibers out. It didn't happen to me, and you won't see it so much in the video itself, but you will see how you may hear the sound of my dip pen on the paper and how rough the paper is. But overall, I would say that these notebooks are very well made, and if you're interested, please check her out. Again, this video is not sponsored by any means, but I wanted to share this with you and how I really enjoyed this. Now, as for me and my plans to use this watercolor book, I think I will be using it both for sketching with a fountain pen or a dip pen, and then also for watercolor. So I'm excited to not only do that, but also use them together and see how that plays out. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. I want to thank you for watching this video and staying tuned to the very end. If you want to know more, make sure to check out and subscribe to my channel. And I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a great and wonderful day, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.